Welcome in to the Fun Astrology Podcast. It is Saturday again. We have Stephanie in the house. Stephanie, do you have any big plans for Thanksgiving this week?
Hi, Thomas. Yes, actually, I'm really excited. I get to spend Thanksgiving with my father and stepmother, and we are going to go out this year instead of cooking to save us some work, so that'll be fun. How about you?
Well, I'm trying to get a couple of audiobooks done, and my big deal is whenever that happens, not necessarily on the day, I'm going to head to Texas to go meet my granddaughter. So it probably won't be for Thanksgiving because these books are long, but it's going to be soon. So I will probably be in the booth right here narrating because I'm motivated.
You're motivated. But you get to see your grandbaby. That's in the works. It's coming.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
That's
for those
awesome.
of you in Canada and Europe and down under and et cetera, well, I hope you have a spirit of gratitude anyway, and I know you celebrate your respective days. So we've got it here this week. Hey, we are going to continue the conversation from last Saturday. So if you didn't hear Stephanie's broadcast last Saturday, you might go back and just pick that up to get a running start at what we're going to talk about today, the other side of the nodes, this one being the north, right?
Yes. So we're going to do the part 2 on this, since last week I did the south node. So yes, please go check that out because I did a little intro and broke it down on basically what the nodes represent in medical astrology, just from a brief term, but I want to go more in depth. So north node, like I mentioned last time, always directly opposite that south node, and it's going to look like the upside down horseshoe in your chart. And it will change signs every 1.5 years. And it's an important indicator to look for. So it is not considered a malefic like the South Node, but it is an important indicator because what it represents is a strength and power surge and sometimes an excess of energy. So it's very opposite the interpretation of the South Node, which is more draining. This one is like a charge. So whatever sign position of your natal lunar north node is going to suggest a body zone that has added strength and vital force naturally. But it can also be an area that could be prone to excess. So things like swelling, impaction, or possibly, being more susceptible to pathogens or bacteria in kind of those areas. So it's kind of interesting to note, and you want to keep an eye on it. Any planet that conjoins it is going to be even more strengthened and very strongly placed. It's interesting, you're going to receive a lot of that planet's energy and possibly a little too much because of that north node being such a power surge. It could possibly create a little bit of an imbalance. So just keep an eye on that, but know that it is a blessing if you do have that in your chart because it gives you extra endurance to work towards embodying more of the traits in the sign that node sits in. And it's interesting that the north node is quite similar to that of Saturn. So it represents strength, structure, and discipline. And like I mentioned, it doesn't usually contribute to specific health conditions in the body. It usually suggests those areas where we have unusual strength and can sometimes, like I mentioned, have a little bit of excess. So what you want to do is you want to look at where that north node is natally, what sign, what house, and then I encourage you to go back and listen to the moon podcast I did. I mentioned this too for the south node, and listen to the body areas of, where your sign is. So let's say you have a Capricorn north node. You are going to have a tendency towards thicker skin, strong knees, and possibly even some gout there. So you want to keep an eye on that. And then a susceptibility towards gallstones. But on the very, very positive side, you are going to have a body that's incredibly sturdy with larger bones, usually a lot of bone density, and you are going to have a lot of leg and knee strength. So it definitely adds a blessing. When you have a planet there too, like let's say if you have Mars there within 2 degrees of your natal north node, and that's considered a conjunction. In medical astrology, we work with tighter orbs. So within a couple degrees is really what's considered a conjunction here. And that is going to give you a lot of physical strength, strong muscles, nerves of steel, but you can also be prone to overexertion. So that's just kind of one little example there. Now I want to talk about the transits. So when the North Node transits over any natal planet in your chart, which it will once every 18.6 years, it's going to signify an incoming tide of celestial force and an extra supply of strength. So this can give a significant rise in energy. Let's say it's going over your ascendant, since that's the example I used last week for the South Node. That's going to give you a ton of physical energy, and you want to use that time, that 1.5 years, you want to use that time to strengthen your physical body. It's a perfect time to get into a health routine and build and boost that body up. So it can be very empowering to know where the North Node is. And I hope that this has helped to give you some insight onto how you can use it.
And let's pinpoint where the North Node is right now in the transit. So you would look at 2 degrees Gemini. And like we mentioned last week, it's getting ready in backward motion to move out of Gemini into Taurus. So the lower Gemini numbers, 2, 1, 0, and then we're going into 29, 28, 27, 26. Taurus is kind of the next phase. So if you have planets around that Gemini-Taurus cusp, then exactly what she was talking about is affecting you now.
Yes, that is correct. Thank you for pointing that out, because we are going into a change here soon. So it's just really interesting to note. And then you're going to want to look at that South Node too. So please go back and look at that, or listen to that podcast, that we did last week on that. So you can know also what to expect when that South Node is going to transit the areas of Scorpio in your chart.
Now, let me just be blatant here and put a commercial in. May I, Stephanie? Can I?
Absolutely, please.
All right. Mark your calendar for Thursday, December 2nd. This week in the United States, of course, is Thanksgiving. The next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, so set that to your own time zone, we are going to have our second Fun Astrology course Discord discussion group. And Stephanie, I know you weren't able to attend. You've got a lot going on in your world, but last time we had our meeting 3 weeks ago, it was absolutely incredible. 2 hours, hardcore, solid, talking astrology. And I don't remember the number of people in the group, but it was like a big love fest of people that just have a common interest of astrology, the course, learning, growing in their own paths, asking questions about various configurations in their own charts, some questions about the course. The reason I'm mentioning it related to this is that the story that I talked about last time, this James Leininger story and how Steve Forrest handled that with the nodes, we're going to feature that and talk about it on December 2nd. But you have to be in the course. This is for course participants, all right? So if you'd like to hear that conversation, I mean, this is so incredible about our past, the connection with the nodes, as only Steve Forrest can do it, and then we're going to put the fun astrology spin on it and pull it all together. So that's going to be a monument. I can't wait for. I wish it was now. I'm so ready.
That's so amazing. That's so awesome that you've created this community, Thomas.
Well, but if people want to be in the course and be on that same platform, I got to tell you, it is just the energy of it is incredible. Hope you can make it too. But I just wanted to mention that because it really ties in with this conversation, the medical piece. We're talking about our karma. We're talking about our soul purpose. You've beautifully contrasted areas in our life that are going to be physically more energizing, and then the other side of the coin, physically more draining. And that was something I tell you, I've never thought about that or heard of it before. So this is great. Perfect information.
Yes, I'm so glad you found it personally helpful as well. When I started studying this too, the nodes just really drew me in. They were so fascinating, like you mentioned, and I am a believer of the previous incarnation, so I wanted to look more into that and what my node would signify of possibilities of what happened back then and what it's bringing me now to work with. And medically, I have seen it manifest in certain ways for me that now when I'm studying, I see all the connections and how powerful this really does play out for people, and they are not something to be ignored.
No, absolutely not. And actually, as you were just mentioning that, I'm going to email Steve and see if he would grant me permission to share the Leininger story. I'll ask either the podcast or maybe just the group. It is
I want to hear this. Please, yes, let's pray that Steve allows this because this is fascinating to me. I am all over this. And I would love to join. I'm not sure about December 2nd, but I would love to join one of the meetups for the Fun Astrology course group because I would really love to get involved with all that great energy. And then if anyone has any questions too. And so I'm hoping and planning for that, hopefully as things kind of calm down here a little bit for me with my move and everything.
All right. We hope so too. Stephanie, this has been brilliant. Thank you so much. Really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
I wish you and your family a wonderful holiday, and we'll see you back next Saturday.
Thanks so much, Thomas, and I wish you the same, and get some downtime for yourself, a little bit in there, hopefully. And I hope all of you listeners have a wonderful Thanksgiving if you're here in the U.S., and all of the gratitude and love that we're sending you if you're not here in the U.S., across the world, and look forward to seeing you all back here with us on the next Saturday.